Okay, it's very complicated.
Okay, who is the one in the divine that's having the problems?
Okay, it's God.
God is having problems?
Yes.
Okay, God is feeling very sad?
Yes.
Is he feeling sad about the ones that have been lost and what's been lost?
No.
Is he feeling sad about...
He's sad about what's to come.
Oh. In what way?
We're just getting this as we're talking, so just give us a minute. Like we said, it's very complicated. He wants to bring the God Haboob now, but he can't.
What does he have left to do?
Nothing.
Why can't he do this?
Okay, we're trying to decipher this.
Okay, just take us very, very, very slow. We do not have to rush. You can just do little tiny pieces at a time rather than everything.
Yeah. Break it down.
Yes.
Things have gotten too messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's afraid that if he brings it through, they won't be able to handle it. It'll rip things apart.
I understand that. I do. I completely understand that. That is an experience that happens here on Earth quite often.
Because everything is too fragile.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't have brought it before now because...
Yeah, he had to bring everything to 100% alignment.
Yeah.
He had to work on healing the major traumas people had gone through.
Yes.
So that they could be able to process the God Haboob. I'm going to process this through you Uriel.
Okay.
You guys can listen to this. And you may be able to bring it to God in a way that helps him to understand it. And I'm going to use specifically what the illustration I'm going to go through.
Okay.
Okay, when we first started this process, it was messed up.
Very, yes.
Very, very messed up. There was lots of entities attached. There was lots of chaos. And she was quite flailing and messed up.
Yes.
But we went through the process. I do understand where God is. I understand it completely. I understand because
to him, especially the universe is so like a very, very thin, fragile eggshell, like almost translucent.
Yes. And what was like when we first started? She was already cracking and had all kinds of problems, right?
Yeah.
She was very fragile. Even amongst other people, humans on Earth, she was considered to be a very, very fragile human. So I understand that. So I understand that concern and the way you looked at it, trying to help them, and they're cracking and messing up so often, and you're very concerned about it. So
yes.
I completely understand that. But when we started this process, they had all the entities, and sometimes we would clear them out and pull them back. And we'd clear them out, and she'd pull them back.
That was all she knew.
Right. And we continued to work, and at some one point, though, we were like, listen, we can't do things according to his agreement.
Yes.
And having me involved in it, because she will always make decisions and do things that pulls her back to what she was. Yes. And it's not beneficial for her. So we had to override her soul and doing this process. And that was a new thing. There was a lot of people who had a lot of problems with that.
Yes.
And even going through it, she had a lot of problems with it. And there was a lot of fighting and issues. But we got her through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a lot of healing. And she had to decipher what was hers and what was others. And we've been working on that. She's much, much, much better.
Yes.
The universe of the souls is very much like a macrocosm of... It's had so many influences. It doesn't know... And so many entities influencing it. And it's all that they know. And they built everything around those feelings and thoughts and pressures that they're sort of going chaos. But God's already brought everybody up to 100%. Okay? That was like we pushed through and did that. And that has accomplished a lot. He's got the singularity. He has to like we removed the darkest ones into the singularity. We've brought everybody up to 100%. We're in the healing process now.
Yes.
Healing process, believe it or not, in some ways is harder.
Yes, it is.
Because there's hidden things, there's complicated things. The healing stuff, the pain is intertwined so much here and there. The healing process is not the easy thing.
No.
But here we have a term called healing crisis. It's when the body is actually healing and getting better, but you feel worse.
Yes.
Okay? It's like the fever is a good thing because it's killing off stuff, but it feels bad. Or there's something that's trying to expel from your lower intestines, and so you have lots of diarrhea, but it's cleaning out and clearing out the stuff you don't want there. So it's the healing crisis. Some are going through the healing crisis, and they're trying to bring back the things that they're trying to heal. And that's very frustrating.
It's more than that, though.
Okay?
God has already been helping those ones. But the physical universe of the souls is fragile.
This is what I have to say. This is, okay, at this point, I am now going
He doesn't think that it can sustain a God Haboob.
It was that you thought that you could bring in a wave and build it up, giving it time to...
Yes, we've changed the pattern for that one. We're going back to the God Haboob.
I want you to look at this. I want you to look at what happened with the guide realm and the rebuilding of the guide realm.
Yes.
There was a time frame, whereas at the beginning it started off a little bit slower. So as you're getting the pieces, you're clearing out the debris. But then as you get to a certain point, it starts to speed up more and more. And you're able to act and react to things as they come along. This is what I have to say. Now understand what I'm speaking right now. I am speaking as the Time Weaver and not as the expression, though I have all of the understanding that the expression has. But I am my fullest self.
Okay.
This is what will be most beneficial, and the bringing about of all things, and the saving of, I'm going to say, all that should be saved, and the lattice work of all that is physical. Now, and once again, I'm going to restate this. I'm saying this as the Time Weaver who was created to and can see possibilities. This is what I have been created for and who I am. So this is what I am saying. There is the multi-pronged, multi-leveled phase we need to enter into now. First, while the healing is continuing on at a steady pace for all, there has to be a very quick wave that goes through and removes all of the inertia. Anything that has been taken into the singularity and anything that has been built by those who have been taken to the singularity needs to be removed. This needs to be fairly quick because those of the singularity, they have gone into the singularity, their inertias have a desperation and a darkness about them that cannot align to divinity in any way. It will be a bit of a chaos and a panic that will go on as this happens. But all that is of light and divinity will still be there. What I will ask is that during this time period, those who are in the physical, who have lost the comprehension of how to exist in the physical on their own without these singularity created systems, make sure that all of those in the physical have a home, that they have food, and and that they are supported through this process. As everything that has gone into the singularity and all the inertias are removed. This will be a bit of a chaos time. But it would be very much like helping the guides into the oasis. This is a situation that we are in. If it is that any of that are in the physical find this too traumatic and they wish to go back into spirit, then already have prepared for them a place where they can go into a spirit oasis during this process. That will be okay. It is not necessary for them to all be in the physical. As long as the planets are in the physical and the animals who have maintained the understanding of how to survive in line with divinity, as long as they remain in the physical, then everything else can be built from upon it. So don't worry about that. That is the first wave stage that would be of most benefit. There was, I'm going to make a referring to something now. Understand, I'm Weaver brain, so it comes off not necessarily linear in the thoughts. There was a movie, serial? I will call it movie serial because it was many movies linked together, of Avengers, superheroes, and there was something called, there was, in one movie, the bad guy snapped away many peoples. But there was this man known as Dr. Strange in the movie. And he was sitting there looking at many paths. And he said there was one path to take that would give the outcome that was desired. I am seeing the many paths and the option, and I am bringing forth the path that will have the best outcome. And as I am explaining it, I am seeing how it is unfolding, and it will seem very chaos, and there will be lots of souls crying out in fear and panic during this time. But if we go into the quiet understanding of knowing what is happening, and that this is only a temporary discomfort to bring them to where they want to be, it is like if you are also, I'm sorry, this is very disjointed, but it is like you're in your car and you want to get into a building, but the weather outside is very bad, so the distance from the car to the building is going to be very cold or wet or uncomfortable, and you only have a little distance. So you get yourself ready and you go for it, and once you get into the building, you're perfectly fine. Everything's there to help you deal with what you went through on the path. This will be this little path in between that may have a lot of discomfort and cold, but it's very short. It's very short, and it'll be okay. If we have the oasis set up for the souls that decide to leave the physical, and we help those in the physical to have a home, shelter, warmth, cool, food, to get them through this, then once all the inertia and those who have been brought to the inertia of those in the singularity and all that they have built is gone, then at that point you can bring the haboob in. It doesn't have to be a smack upside the face. But it can be a definite quick building, not a slow building, but a quick building. And think of it also as you would think as if you were going to experience a positive hurricane, in that the outer bands prepare you and they feel, but they're not as strong as the inner bands. So you can bring this in as in building, but only not over many decades or long time, but just have it getting better and better, more divinity. And as divinity comes in and everyone experiences this, they will feel better. They will become aligned. They will realign and align. Understand that this is what they've always wanted. This is what they've been trying to get back. Though they may have some resistance because it feels so different, they will align, they will heal. And just as with the guide realm, as it wants to be built back. It wants to be there. it will do this. Just support it. And if it becomes when things start to get a little tumbly and falling, you can sort of hold it right there, and everybody can come in and help rebuild, hold back what needs to be held back. But having an oasis for all that decide to not be part of it. Okay? This is what I am seeing. There will be those that will, in stages, will opt out of doing this through the physical. But there will be those who will remain throughout the entire process of the physical. The physical worlds, I will call them that, will be more sparsely populated with, I'm going to call human-like, but the higher beings, but the animals and such, and the minerals and the, I'm going to use earth terms because that will be most understood here, but you understand what I'm talking about when I say the mountains and the trees, and the animals, they will be fine. Planets will be fine. They will welcome this. I just got the planets, each planet. Okay, there's going to have a jelly bubble around them so that as it comes through, if they have the hiccups or burps, they are instantly comforted.
Okay.
Through the process.
That's no problem.
But do each one separately, and then do their, for instance, you could have a jelly bubble around the Earth, but then you will also have a jelly bubble around the solar system, and you will also have a jelly bubble around clusters and like the galaxy will have a jelly. So there'll be multi-layered jelly bubbles, so that if one planet is having a little difficulty, it's okay. But if the whole solar system is having problems, then each one is being dealt with, plus the whole family will be okay. And like this, having this in place, it will allow things not to just spread throughout everything. That way, if one planet or one solar system or one galaxy is having a bit of a hiccup and difficulties, it does not spread cascading throughout all. You have the comfort for the individual and you have the comfort for the groups and each groups, and it can be dealt with. And if there's an area that's having particular problems, then you can slow it. There is a bit of resistance to this.
Yes.
Let me explain this also. I know this is, once again, this is very jittery and jumpy. I have been putting out, hold just a second. I have been putting out and speaking of and trying to bring forth these messages for some time. And there has been resistance to what I have had to say. And this resistance has continued. It has become the habit. Because I am seen as a harbinger of doom. Not a bad person, no, not harbinger. Blowing things out of proportion, causing problems. Many think that I'm choosing. Once again, always talking. So many of these distractions are occurring. There are many that think that I do not always choose and set before them the best paths. There are other paths that could be better. I see the other paths, but I see not just the short term, but the long term, the eventual, the building and the going. I see all these paths. This is what I have to say. If it is that you want to hear other opinions on these matters, that is fine. But at least get other opinions from other weavers, because weavers have the ability to see the past, the present, and the futures of all possibilities. This is the side point I am making, because there are many that are putting in distractions and are not liking what is being said here. Okay, I will now go back to what I was saying about the bubbling. The bubbling will allow that if an area is having particular problems, then that their problems will not spread, but we can slow everything down and deal with helping them through their situation. And then in this way, we will be able to save much more. And all that will remain will be of the divine. And when, but this is the point, when everything is not just 100% realigned, but is built in divine and building in divine and moving in divine, then just as with the guide realm and how when you reach a certain point, then it starts to build itself. This is what will happen throughout all creation. Divinity always wants to build this. There are only problems when distortions come in which interfere with, slow, or try to stop divinity. This is what divinity wants. This is what has always been trying to accomplish. Will this process be sparkles and rainbows and glitter and happy song continue? No, there's going to be some hiccups as people, and I will use this term very broadly to describe individuals, but as these people experience a dramatic change, it will be like, just as with when these changes occurred, many times there was an and trying to bring it back, but as it just disappears and dissipates, and then divinity comes in, it's like, oh, but this is nice. And then as it happens everywhere, then they will all start clicking and building. And as it starts clicking and building on its own, then the bubbles can slowly be de-intensified, so that divinity will just take off, but we don't have to purposely choose this. It will just naturally happen. I will say I can see it happening. I do see it happening. I cannot say for each individual piece where this individual piece will connect with that individual piece, because it's fluid and moving. It could be at one point this way and another point that way. I do not know, but divinity does not have a specific outline end game. But as the pieces come together, there is like as I said, I can go back to the back and back up to the forward in a linear description. And I am seeing Tamohola Ayas. I am speaking here now to God, the source of all life. At that beginning point, when you first considered and decided that you wished to have someone else to discuss about this plan, to discuss about this thought, this plan, this hope, this dream that was building within you. At that moment, at that center moment that existed, that thought, that dream, that hope of creation, when creation was first a consideration, a concept, a birthing of an idea, there was a vision, a dream that was of its fullest sense. That vision, that dream, that spot, that point is still there. It is still attempting to be that with which was dared to be conceived of. It is at the most center point of your godness. It must be accomplished as an artist must paint, the sun must shine. This creation must be created, because that is who you are, and that is what all is. Everything that has been created is. It must be accomplished. We cannot not do this. We cannot hold it back. To hold it back would be a distortion that would reverberate and twist throughout all, and we cannot have that. We are feeling and reacting to the energies that are moving here, because we have gone into the very beingness center of God. We are looking in and into it, and we are seeing it. All that is created, all that has ever been created, all that ever will be created, must be created. We cannot say, I cannot move forward. We must move forward, because there is no way to not move forward. To not move forward is a distortion, and will only create chaos and like a itching, combining, prickling. We must do this. We can do this and bring this point back to that which your very core has always dreamed and wanted. That is the points I've been thinking. I have been singing and saying over and over again, I dreamed a dream, I dreamed a dream. I have had these are your dreams. That are the dreams of all that's created, because we are all from and of you. This is what we must do. This is what we must be, because we cannot not be. And once we are allowed to move in the freedom of divinity without distortions, then it will just happen. The pieces will all fall together. They will all build together. We will be aware, because we are aware of distortions. We will be aware of distortions, and so we will be able to address them quickly. We will not just let them be, but we will address them quickly if anything should ever pop up again. It will not, I have hearing this. I am hearing, but what if it gets too big and I can't? Because at this point it was so hard. Because all of divinity, all that is creation, will be assisting in this. It will be a unifying of your God soul heart to all that create, all of creation. And it will move in harmony and balance. And it will always be bringing into balance. There will not be an arguing and a debating. It will only be that which is, because it will all fall into place with itself. We must do this, because we cannot not do this, because this is what must be, because there is nothing else that can be. It is okay. It is okay. We have learned lessons, and we are going to work in harmony with all that is of your divine part being. You can move forward. And I know that there are many that have anxieties because of everything that we've been experiencing. But just as with the rebuilding of the guide realm, when there was much debris, there was anxiety. But look at it now. This which has happened to the guide realm is what will happen throughout all. Because it must. Will we find an occasional bomb or sabotage? Maybe. But if everything is bubbled, then it cannot spread throughout, and we can deal with it as it comes up. We have learned which paths lead to distortions. We learn to recognize distortion and the way it sounds and feels, so that we will always keep it into the beautiful divine harmony symphony that is singing out. We can and we must do this. It will be okay. It will be okay. Quiet from the chaos. Look into this point. Because if I can see it, you can see it. If I can feel it, you can feel it. And the weavers can feel it. And all the weavers here, all of the weavers are hereby surrounding God, the source of all light. The one who lives in the infinity point is circling over there within, connecting all. We are connecting with God, and God is connecting with us. It is seen, it is seen, it is building. You are seeing the lines and the bands filling and twirling and interacting, and the sound and the songs and the song and the song. The many songs that blend into one's grand song. And there's that point when you decided and you created the Great Father and the Great Mother in light. And that saying, feel and wonder. So bring in the habub. We are already circling and encompassing and bubbling all. Each individual solar being, each individual planet, each individual solar system, galaxies, or whichever way it can be interpreted in all the separate and many different universes and throughout all creations and all that connects creation and beyond creation. It is being done. Even beyond creation, there is a bubbling of, we will call it areas, so that each area is bubbled and comforted. We are doing this, and it is being done. And this is a joyous time because we are all safe. We are all cared for, and we are all connected in the infinity point of God. It is okay, everyone, to be fine. It may be a bit rocky at times, but it will be fine because all will be known, because nothing can be left. There is no point that can be not at peace and harmony and line with divinity. It is connecting, this strengthening. It is a place of, I'm trying to find the word for that. It is a place of the knowing that the sun will come up. Yes, it is that feeling. It is going to come up and the light is on the horizon. And it is all going to be okay. And it is going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful day, and everything that will exist and be throughout the building of this day is going to be a divine connection. And we are aware. It must be this. It must be. Allow your dreams to flourish. So let it be, and so it is. So let it be, and so it is. So let it be, and so it is. Okay, I'm going to ask now Uriel.
Yes?
I know what I was experiencing, and I know what I was seeing, and I know how I was interacting and conversing with God.
He's doing much better now.
But I do not know how, from your perspective.
We got a filtered version.
That is fine.
And then you had like the extended edition and we had the basic one?
Yes. But did you understand the bubblings?
Oh yes, we understood that.
And the connecting of divinity and how it builds on itself?
Yes.
Okay, because we're going to try. We're pulling in the extension a little bit more now.
Okay.
When I, as a weaver, am speaking and seeing and experiencing, I do not know what is being experienced and seen and understood on the other levels at that moment.
Still saw everything.
That is fine. I'm just trying to clarify that others understood, even if it was filtered and limited, that there was an understanding and that it wasn't too disjointed and weird.
It was a little bit, but we got the gist of it.
Very well. We know that
if you look at it in separate sections, it helps.
Yes.
Not as one big thing, but lots of little things. Like a book of short stories.
Yes. But a book of short stories that, when you get to the end, realize that all those short stories worked in on each other.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, okay. So, very well. That is just what we needed to clarify. And when I just said the word we, I meant we the weavers, because we the weavers are now in an interconnectedness with God, with each other and with God.
Okay.
So when I say I'm speaking as the we of the weavers. I'm time weaver but myself, but that we were also the we of all of the weavers, and all that connect and interact with work with the weavers. And it is a bit difficult to put into terms and understanding. But it is very beautiful what is happening and how it is happening. And it is also very quiet and at the same time exciting. It's like each bubble is exciting, but on the outside, the connection-y way, it is a very quiet realization. It's very quiet. And it's like a sigh. That is it. It's like a relaxed sigh, like that is what it is feeling like for us. And God is realizing too that even His, and it is not really the anxiety, but there was a energy moving in a way that it was mostly could be understood as anxiety that He had in the moving forward as to how it will happen.
It was more like concern.
Yes, concern work. It is very hard to find a word or words that portray this accurately.
Anxiety has a bit of a tightness to it. And
There was a holding back.
But concern can be a holding back, just not a panic tightness.
There was a holding back, but the thing is that the more if you hold it, the longer you hold it back, the more the pressure and tightness was increasing.
Yes.
So they are very hard words to describe in this manner because of God, who He is, and trying to interpret the very intimate person of God to others is
difficult.
Always going to be very extremely limited and not completely accurate. But very well. So it is being done and adjusted, and I, as the Fullest Time Weaver, and we as the Weavers will be integral and working on and being part of this as it must occur and at the rate that it will occur, because divinity is the timeline is not going to be one where someone decides that this is when we would do it. We are moving out of the point of I will decide and moving into the flow. This process is going to be very much a natural flow. We can work in along with the flow. As the tide must rise, we can work with the rising tide, but we cannot hold the tide back.
Gotcha.
So many words we use, so many illustrations. I know that it is very discombobulated.
Like I said, it's easy to think of it as short stories.
Okay. Very well. Thank you and bless you.